hear the matter of the people of the state of New York versus Morgan Hahn. Morgan Hahn has been charged with murder in the second degree. Morgan Hahn made an unfortunate mistake of believing that she was entering her own apartment, and upon doing so, found what she thought was an intruder in her apartment. She is using the defense of self-defense in this case. That makes it unique in that the burden of proof shifts to the defense and to prove to you, in fact, she had no choice but to kill Mr. Jean, the victim, as she is admitting that she did do this act. At this time, I will give you further instructions at the end. Prosecution, you may give your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Article 125.25 of the Penal Law is titled Murder in the Second Degree. And in this article, it states all the reasons this crime is illegal and the charges brought upon the people who commit it. Officer Morgan Hahn has committed this crime, murder. She decided to pull the trigger and murder this poor man in his own home. Even though she had so many other options, she chose to take this man's life. And of course, the defense is going to say all sorts of things, saying that it was self-defense, that she was defending herself from some non-existent threat that this innocent man had posed to her. Murder in any degree is illegal. In this day and age, we need our police officers to be responsible, to be protectors, and to be role models. And Officer Morgan Hahn is the complete opposite. So please, make our city safer and put her away for this heinous crime she's committed. Thank you.
Defense, you may give your opening statement.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the fact of the matter is Officer Hahn shot and killed Mr. Jean. This is a very tragic incident that she feels terrible about. As you see today, she is still very distraught and remorseful about this incident. You will hear throughout the following testimonies how Officer Hahn is an honorable and decorated officer, not only on duty, but off duty as well. On the night of this tragic incident, she arrived to what she thought was her apartment. After working a 12-hour shift, she noticed the door was slightly opened. Immediately, her police training kicked in, and she entered the apartment with her weapon drawn. She was in fear for her life. She seen a tall, dark figure. She began yelling commands. The tall, dark figure did not comply and began moving towards her. She fired twice to neutralize the threat. Immediately after, she noticed it was not her apartment. A terrible mistake she had made. She began giving CPR and dialing 911. She did everything humanly possible to save Mr. Jean's life. So I ask you today to listen to these following testimonies carefully. Put yourself in Officer Hahn's shoes. Thank you. Nothing further.
Prosecution, you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, prosecution calls Ariar Foley.
Raise your hand, left hand on the cup. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? May you see it?
Please state your name for the record.
Ariana Foley.
Why are you here today?
I'm a witness in this case.
Did you know Mr. G?
Yes.
Were you home on September 6th at 5 p.m.?
Yes.
What were you doing at this time?
I was in the kitchen about to make dinner for my son.
Was there anything out of the ordinary that you heard?
I heard some loud noises. It was pretty odd. It's usually pretty quiet.
Can you be more specific?
I heard Mr. G yelling. I did not understand what he was saying.
What did you do next?
I went to my door to see what was going on.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 1 to the record.
So noted.
Right there, to the right is my room, and right across from me, to the left is Mr. G's apartment.
What did you see?
I saw Officer Hahn in the doorway of Mr. G's apartment.
Did you see Officer Hahn shoot him?
Yes.
Please indicate on this exhibit where she was standing when she shot Mr. Jean.
Officer Hahn was right here in the doorway,
How far open was Mr. Jean's apartment door?
all the way.
Did you see where he was standing?
Yes.
Where?
All the way in the back of the apartment.
And what happened next?
Officer Hahn goes, "Oh crap." I then went back into my apartment. I didn't know what next.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
When defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. What if I told you I had evidence of you drunk on a bench in rags with gum on the side of your head?
How do you represent that was me?
There's a picture of it.
Let me see it.
You'll see it in the further testimonies. But I'm even more concerned because you said you had a son.
Yes.
So you're drunk on a park bench and your son is missing.
I have a twin sister. How do you know that was me?
We have proof it was you.
Twins look alike.
Excuse me? I'm sorry.
Twins look alike. It could have been
But you're saying all these things, but how are we supposed to believe what you saw? For all we know, that was you, and maybe that's an excuse, but maybe you're delirious, and how are we supposed to believe anything you're saying?
her. It's not how I
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, Counselor. I just want to remind you to talk into the microphone. Prosecution, do you wish to read direct?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Prosecution calls Mr. Aaron Casella.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth so help you God? Let me see.
Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Aaron Casella.
What is your occupation?
I'm a 911 dispatcher for Rensselaer County
How long have you been a 911 dispatcher?
for about 3 years.
Were you the dispatcher on duty for this case?
Yes, I was.
What time did you receive the 911 call from Officer Hahn?
Around 5 o'clock p.m.
Did she sound upset?
No, not at all.
Can you elaborate on that?
Her voice was very monotone. Her breathing was steady, but she didn't even tell what happened.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 2 into the record.
911, what's your emergency?
I just shot some dude.
Where is this?
44 XYZ Street.
Is he breathing?
Nope, he's dead as heck.
What's your name?
Officer Morgan Hahn.
I'm sending EMS and the police. Please stand by.
Mr. Casella, in your experience, is it typical that someone would react this way when they call 911 after shooting and killing someone?
No, it's not.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Do you consider yourself a good 911 dispatcher?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what a PSAP is?
Can you restate that question?
Can you tell me what a PSAP is?
No, I cannot.
A PSAP is a public safety access point. That's where you go to work every day.
Yes, it is.
We didn't know that.
Correct.
So you don't know where you go to work every day. You're unprofessional. We're supposed to believe that call was real.
It's 100% real.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, you wish to read direct?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Prosecution calls Lieutenant Justin Forte to stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth so help you God? Please.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Lieutenant Justin Forte.
Why are you here today?
I collected the evidence and processed this crime scene.
What is your education?
I earned my bachelor's degree in forensic science at Florida State University.
What were your grades during your years at university?
I was a straight A student, finishing all 4 years with a 4.0 GPA.
Where are you currently employed?
I'm a crime scene technician for the Troy Police Department.
Please tell us about your experience.
I started off my first 8 years in patrol, gaining with the rank of a sergeant. Then I transferred over to the forensics unit, and I became a crime scene technician, and I gained the rank of lieutenant through my training.
How long have you been a crime scene technician?
10 years.
Do you have any other experiences?
Yes, I worked 3 years with homicide.
How did you get the call for this case?
Dispatch had advised me that a fellow officer had shot someone in the building.
What happened when you first arrived?
I was directed to the 4th floor where the victim lived and where the crime scene occurred.
What did you see when you got to the victim's apartment?
I found Officer Hahn pacing back and forth in an angry tone saying that she had messed up.
Did you talk to Officer Hahn at all?
No, I walked straight past her and went to the crime scene.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 3 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we're looking at?
This is the victim's apartment, and this is Mr. Jean's door.
What was the first thing you saw at the crime scene?
I found 2 .45 caliber bullet casings and a .45 caliber service gun.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 4 into the record.
So noted.
Can you identify the item in this photo?
This is the .45 caliber handgun found at the crime scene.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 5 into the record.
So noted.
Can you identify the items in this photo?
These are the 2 .45 caliber bullet casings found at the crime scene.
Do you know who these items belong to?
Yes, after processing the scene, I found out that they belonged to Officer Hahn.
What did you do next?
I went into the crime scene where I found Mr. Jean laying face down dead.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 6 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we're looking at?
This is the crime scene, and the view is from down here at the door.
Can you indicate on this picture where the victim's body was when you found it?
Yes, he was found down here closest to the door.
What are we looking at in this photo?
There's a large amount of blood smeared all the way from the back of the room to the front where he was found dead.
And what does this indicate to you?
This indicates that Mr. Jean's body was dragged 12 feet from the back of the room to the front
Why would someone drag a body?
to make him seem closer than he actually was when he was shot.
Is there anything else significant in this photo?
Yes, the rear back door is shattered after being struck by a bullet.
Why is it significant?
The farther away a target is, the harder it is to hit.
What conclusion can be drawn from this?
I can conclude that Officer Hahn was at least 12 feet away from Mr. Jean when she shot and killed him. She shot her first shot, missing, hitting the back door. Then she shot her second shot, hitting Mr. Jean and killing him.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
So, Lieutenant Forte, you say she must have been far away when she shot him?
Correct.
.45 caliber gun is a pretty strong gun, correct?
Correct.
So you would say that it's strong enough to pass through Mr. Jean, even to hit the door?
No, I did not say that. The bullet hit Mr. Jean, and she shot another shot, and she missed and hit the back door.
So you're saying that Mr. Jean was only shot once?
Correct.
Interesting. Thank you, nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to, sorry, witness. Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Prosecution calls Dr. Devin McCaffrey to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Of course I do. You may be seated.
Please state your name for the record.
Dr. Devin McCaffrey.
Why are you here today?
I'm the medical examiner who performed the autopsy and determined the cause of death.
What is your education?
I went to Stanford University for my forensic pathology. I'm an MD.
Please tell us about your professional experience.
I've been a medical examiner for 20 years.
What is your current position?
I'm the medical examiner in Rensselaer County.
How long have you had said position?
10 years.
What does a medical examiner do?
A medical examiner performs autopsies and determines the manner and mode of death.
How do you perform an autopsy?
I cut open the body and inspect the organs, tissues, and bodily fluids.
Did you perform the autopsy on Mr. Jean?
Yes, I did.
What were your findings as to the cause of death of Mr. Jean?
The manner of death was homicide and the mode of death was a gunshot wound that punctured his abdominal aorta.
Was that the cause of death?
Yes, because it caused significant blood loss and he bled to death within 20 minutes.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 7 into the record.
So noted.
Please explain what we are looking at.
This is the abdominal aorta in a human being.
What is the abdominal aorta?
The abdominal aorta is the largest artery in the abdominal cavity.
Can you explain what the function is?
It's part of the heart and pumps a tremendous amount of blood to the rest of the body.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 8 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we are looking at?
This is Mr. Jean's abdominal aorta and that is the bullet that was recovered.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 9 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we are looking at?
This is the trajectory of a bullet hitting a target that is non-moving.
In your expert opinion, was the victim moving towards the shooter?
No, he was not.
And in your expert opinion, how far away was the victim when he was shot?
Approximately 12 feet.
What is your opinion based on?
I based this on the angle and trajectory of the wound.
Can you describe what the last 3 minutes of Mr. Jean's life would have been like?
It would have been horrific. He would have been complete agony. The pain would have been incredible.
Anything else?
He would have gotten weaker and weaker, completely unable to move. He would have been terrified.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. So, Dr. McCaffrey, you think yourself very professional, correct?
Yes, I do.
Did you not show an autopsy report today?
I did.
You did not.
No.
Which was very weird because isn't it standard procedure to show an autopsy report?
Yes, it is.
So why do you not show one? What if I tell you I have evidence to prove that you were unprofessional and sloppy with your work?
That's not true.
Is it not unprofessional not to show an autopsy report?
No, it's not.
That's weird. You say you're professional. You seem kind of nervous today, Dr. McCaffrey.
I'm not nervous.
All right. Thank you. Nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, prosecution calls Matthew Kramer to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. You may be seated.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Matthew Kramer.
Mr. Kramer, why are you here today?
I authenticate posts that the defendant made on social media.
Where did you go to college?
I have a master's degree in cyber forensics, and I went from Pure University.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, I am. I work at the New York State Crime Lab.
What is your position?
IT specialist.
How long have you been an IT specialist?
15 years.
You said earlier that you authenticated social media posts. What does that mean?
It means I verify the posts that the defendant made on social media.
And which social media accounts did you investigate?
I investigated Facebook.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 10 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we are looking at?
This is a post that the defendant made.
Can you please read for us how she introduces herself?
I am violent and I have anger issues.
Can you please read her status post?
The world is fortunate I didn't stab anybody in the throat this week.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 11 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we are looking at?
Another Facebook post by Morgan Hahn.
Can you please read her status post?
I'm dressing in all black today to cause someone's funeral, so don't mess with me.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 12 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we are looking at?
Another Facebook post by Morgan Hahn.
Can you please read her status post?
I shot 10 out of 10 in the torso today. Would hate to see the person that gets in my way.
So it is your testimony here today that these posts were made by Morgan Hahn.
Yes, 100%.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. You said this was from her Facebook, correct?
Yes, I did.
Then how come they're all in quotes? On the Facebook page, usually the words aren't in quotes.
She must have just wanted to quote herself today.
Looks like Photoshop to me, but you're the expert. I was just curious, have you ever been upset and ranted before?
Yes, I have.
You have? So, have you ever bursted something out that was rude or ignorant?
Of course, everybody does.
Does that define who you are?
No.
So, how is that going to define how Officer Hahn is? Thank you, nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
Mr. Kramer, you said most people have violent outbursts, correct?
Yes.
Do most people murder someone?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Defense, do you wish to recross?
Yes, Your Honor. Matthew Kramer, has this been proven that she murdered someone yet, or could it just be acted out of self-defense? How do we know that Mr. Jean wasn't acting out of anger?
He was shot.
Did he not go after her?
I mean, he was in the back of the room.
We don't know if she came forward yet. Thank you, nothing further.
Prosecution, do you have anything?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, prosecution calls Officer Lourdes Lafon to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Maybe seated.
I'd like to remind members of the court to use the microphone up to your mouth.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Officer Lourdes Lafon.
Why are you here today?
I worked with the defendant in this case.
What is your occupation?
I am a police officer with the Troy City Police Department.
How long have you been employed at that department?
15 years.
What is your educational background?
I attended St. Joseph's College, earning my bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a 3.5 GPA.
What happened after you graduated college?
I scored a perfect score on the police officer exam, attending Zone 5 Academy for 26 weeks.
Do you have any awards or commendations?
Yes, I graduated the academy with honors. On the job, I've earned the Life Saving Award, Years of Honorable Service Award, and Officer of the Year.
How do you know the defendant?
Non-existent.
Why is that?
I have a real problem for ethics and morals.
Can you explain that further?
She often bullied citizens and abused her powers.
Can you describe some instances when this occurred?
She would call them names,
Like what?
ugly, slow, and other derogatory words.
Can you give some examples of the physical harassment?
Yes, she would push them around constantly and would slam them down harshly on the patrol car during arrest. No, there would be no reason to slander or lay hands on them in such a way unless they weren't complying.
Why do you think she did these things?
It seems like she was trying to get a reaction so that she could arrest them. This is my final exam compared to Mrs. Hahn's.
Why is this significant?
We both got the same score, but as you can see, she got many wrong.
Why do you think this occurred?
It was common knowledge that she was in a relationship with one of the academy instructors,
Which instructor would that be?
Jeffrey Moore.
Your Honor, the
Not at all. I just wish there had been something done about her before it came down to this.
Thank you. Nothing.
Of Officer Morgan Hahn.
What is your current occupation?
I am the supervisor in the Troy City Police Department. Evaluation made on Officer Morgan Hahn.
Can you walk us through the categories and ratings she received?
Yes, 2 this past month. because the lawyer and her lawyers in the union would protect her.
Did you ever try to counsel her?
Yes, but she had a hot temper and thought she knew everything.
So in your opinion, should Morgan Hahn sir?
Absolutely not.
How has this incident affected you and your department?
It makes all of us look bad. People like her just make it harder.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Yes.
So, as your job, you let police officers in the line of duty, correct?
Yes.
Endangering civilians if there's a bad cop?
Yes.
So, when you go out of your way to beat those lawyers, when you keep on going forward to protect the people, isn't that your job?
Yes.
So why haven't you done so? Why haven't you continued fighting? Why did you give up and say her lawyers protect her?
Because we've tried multiple times to fire her, and we've gone to court 3 times and have lost.
So why give up if it's that bad?
Because we had lost 3 times against her lawyers in the union.
So shouldn't that be your motivation to keep fighting, get out of the line of duty?
Not after dealing with the court 3 times over multiple years.
Can I ask you something? You keep officers in check, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell me what the third use of force is?
No.
You can? You can? That's physical control. That's what officers use to get suspects into custody. You don't even know that?
No, because I have not worked outside of the office for the past 3 years.
But you keep them in check, and the officers should know that. That should be in their minds. It's your job to make sure they know that, and you don't even know it yourself.
No.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, prosecution calls Dr. Jonathan Mendez to stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Please state your name for the record.
I'm Dr. Kenna.
Why are you here today?
I'm here to give my expert opinion on Officer Hahn, mental health and anger issues.
What is your educational background?
I have my PhD in psychiatry from Harvard.
Can you please tell us about your experience?
I gave mental health exams to police recruits for 5 years, and I have been in private practice for 5 years.
Have you had an opportunity to analyze Officer Hahn's mental health?
Yes, I have.
How did you conduct your analysis?
I watched interviews with her and read her performance evaluations.
Anything else?
Yes, I also read complaints I made against her and analyzed social media posts.
Have you ever interviewed her?
Yes, I screened Officer Hahn when she was being hired.
Did you share your opinion with anyone?
I shared my concerns with the police department.
What were your concerns?
Did not think she was mentally fit to be a police officer, but they ignored me.
Why is that?
I found her to be lacking in judgment and decision making.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 19 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we are looking at?
This is a CT scan of the mobile brain and one of Morgan Hahn's.
So what do these images indicate?
The area of the brain that controls the anger impulsiveness is overactive on Mrs. Hahn.
What does this mean?
She acts before she thinks, and she is quick to anger.
So in your expert opinion, did Officer Hahn really need to shoot Mr. G?
Absolutely not. If she had taken a few seconds to analyze the situation, she would have realized she was in the wrong apartment.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yeah, sure. So, you said Officer Hahn had lots of anger.
Yes.
Wasn't she referred to you so you could give her eval?
No.
She wasn't referred. She came out of her own will.
Yes.
So she showed that she was making a step and correcting herself if she had any issues.
No.
She didn't. She just came just for fun.
She came to have the job, but I just find out she have an on and off switch that enters anger.
So if you gave her eval saying that she was not capable of performing on the line of duty professionally, shouldn't she have been taken off if you're a professional?
Yes.
But she didn't. Thank you, nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, prosecution rests.
Defense, you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, defense calls Philip Oakes to the stand.
Raise your hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Can you please say your name for the record?
My name is Philip Oakes.
Mr. Oakes, why are you here today?
I live on the same floor as Mr. G.
How long have you lived in that apartment complex?
I've lived in the apartment complex for about 10 years.
What were you doing in the night in question?
I was reading a newspaper and having a snack.
Can you tell the court what happened while you were reading?
I heard a gunshot.
What did you do when you heard that gunshot?
I ran out my front door to see what happened.
And what did you see?
I seen an officer rushing to Mr. G's room.
And what happened next?
I seen Officer Hahn performing CPR on Mr. G.
Did Officer Hahn say anything to you?
Yes, she said she made a very terrible mistake. She thought she was in her apartment and Mr. G was burglarizing him.
Are you familiar with Miss Ariana Foley, who also lives on the same floor?
Yes, I am.
How do you know Miss Foley?
She was living on the streets when I first met her.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 1 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what?
This is Miss Foley when I first met her.
Do you know why she was in this condition?
She's mentally ill and has a drinking problem.
Do you think she would be a credible witness?
Definitely not. She suffers with delusions and paranoia.
You said delusion and paranoia?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Oakes, you said that you were in your apartment, is that correct?
Yes.
So you didn't actually see the shooting go on?
No, I ran out my door after the gunshot went off.
So you heard it, you didn't see it?
No, I heard it, correct.
So how are you a valid witness if you didn't actually see the shooting go on, you just heard it while standing in your apartment?
I seen Officer Hahn rushing to Mr. James' apartment.
How is that significant if you didn't see it?
She was performing CPR.
That's all you saw?
Correct.
Thank you, nothing further.
Defense, do you wish to redirect? The witness may sit down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, defense calls Mr. Roberts to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Dr. Marissa Roberts.
Why are you here today?
I'm here to give my expert opinion and forensic evidence of this case.
And what is your educational background?
I have a PhD in forensic science.
Counselor, would the witness please speak into the microphone? I can hear you.
What school did you attend?
Drexel University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Ms. Roberts, how many years of experience do you have?
I worked in New York City with the FBI for 15 years, and I've been doing consulting work around the state for 10 years.
Have you reviewed the evidence in this case?
Yes, I've reviewed the crime scene photos and the fingerprints found in the victim's body.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 2 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we're looking at?
It's the victim's kitchen in his apartment.
What is the significance of this picture?
The bloodstains show that someone was rolling the victim's body.
Is there anything else that the bloodstains show?
It also shows that someone was kneeling while rolling the victim's body.
What does this mean?
It means that Officer Hahn was rendering aid to the victim after she shot him.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 3 into the record.
So noted.
Please explain what we're looking at.
On the left is a handprint found the victim's body. On the right is Officer Hahn's handprint.
What is your analysis of this evidence?
The two handprints match.
How do you know they match?
There has to be 12 points of comparison in the code of law.
And how many do these have?
There's 15 points of minutiae details, matching minutiae details.
Why are these handprints significant?
It shows that Officer Hahn was giving CPR to the victim after she shot him.
Thank you, nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may sit down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, defense calls Dr. Philip Brown to the stand.
Raise your right hand. I'll let you know. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Can you please say your name for the record?
Dr. Philip Brown.
Dr. Brown, why are you here today?
I'm here to give my expert opinion on how the victim died.
What's your educational background?
I went to Johns Hopkins University, earning my medical degree and graduated with top honors.
Can you please tell us your professional experience?
I was a medical examiner for Albany County for 20 years.
And what is your current position?
I'm a private consultant. I review cases and give my expert opinion on them.
Do you know Dr. McCaffrey?
Who doesn't?
How do you know him?
I've had to reopen many of his cases.
What is your opinion on Dr. McCaffrey's work?
He's very unprofessional, he's very sloppy, he makes a lot of mistakes.
Can you prove this?
Yes, I can.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 4 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we're looking at?
This is one of Dr. McCaffrey's former autopsies.
What are the issues here?
Well, as you can see, he writes like he's in 2nd grade. The length, which is the height, and the weight is a little unproportional to the human body. And the cause of death is completely wrong in this.
And how's that?
Well, it says it's a gunshot to the head when he doesn't indicate any wounds in the head.
Interesting. Have you had a chance to review Dr. McCaffrey's findings in this current case?
No, I have not.
I understand. Can you explain?
Well, Dr. McCaffrey has failed to provide an autopsy report on this case, therefore I cannot give my opinion on his findings.
Then how can you have an opinion on this case?
I was able to subpoena photographs of victims' wounds.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 5 into the record.
So noted.
Please explain what we're looking at.
This is a handprint on Mr. Jean's chest.
Why is this significant?
It shows that CPR was attempted to save his life.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 6 into the record.
So noted.
Please explain what we're looking at.
This is a gunshot wound on Mr. Jean's abdomen.
What is your opinion on this wound?
That the firearm was fired from very close range.
How do you tell us?
Well, there's burning around the entrance to the wound.
Is there anything else?
Yes, in addition, there is gunshot stippling around the wound.
What is gunshot stippling?
Gunshot stippling is the discoloration of the skin around a wound caused by burning gunpowder.
What is the significance of stippling?
It shows close range shooting.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Brown, do you know what an abdominal aorta is?
Yes, I do.
Would you mind telling us what it is?
Well, it's a vein within the abdomen.
That's the full description of what it is.
Yes.
Dr. Brown, is it true that when you perform CPR, you use the bottom of your hand, not your whole entire hand?
Well, for some people, it could slip their mind over time on how to perform. As long as they're making the effort, it could save someone's life.
So would you say that Officer Hahn was not properly trained?
Well, no, and it could just be the fact that she forgot.
She forgot. Officer Hahn is a police officer. She needs to be trained on CPR properly, but she just forgot.
Well, maybe that indicates that she hasn't had to do it.
All police officers have to do CPR.
Well, not
Thank you, nothing further.
Defense, do you wish to read that back?
Yes, Your Honor. Let me ask you something. Is it possible to have sensitive skin?
Yes.
So if you put your palm where you're giving CPR and you press down, is it possible the fingerprints can go on someone's skin?
Yes, that's possible.
Thank you, nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution? Do you wish to read that?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you explain what the difference between a vein and an artery is?
Well, an artery is for the heart, and a vein is just to carry blood.
In your description of the abdominal aorta, you described it as a vein. It's an artery. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
Why did you say vein?
Because I forgot.
You forgot. You're a professional, yeah?
Yes.
And you forgot, like how Morgan Hahn forgot how to save a life and do CPR.
Well, you don't know that she forgot it, she was still doing it.
Actually, previously, you said she forgot.
I said she could have.
So it's a possibility that she forgot.
A possibility.
As you
never
are
said
right now.
she did.
Very forgetful. Thank you. Nothing further.
Defense? Do you have anything further for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may sit down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, defense calls Officer Gabby Hall to the stand. Can you please state your name for the record?
Officer Gabby Hall.
And why are you here today?
I'm Officer Hahn's partner.
What is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Liberty University, Lynchburg, Virginia.
And where are you currently employed?
I have been a Troy police officer for the past 15 years.
How long have you and Officer Hahn been partners?
8 years.
How would you describe Officer Hahn as an officer?
She cared about people very much, and she was always professional.
Have you ever seen once Officer Hahn act out of anger or abuse of her authority?
No, not once in 8 years.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 7 into the record.
So noted.
Can you explain to us what we're looking at?
This is Officer Hahn helping an elderly woman cross the street one day when we were on break.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 8 into the record.
So noted.
Can you explain to us what we're looking at?
This is when Officer Hahn was presented with the Silver Star for Bravery Award.
Were you present when Officer Hahn received her award?
Of course, I nominated her.
Can you explain to us what this award is?
It's an extraordinary act of heroism in the line of duty.
What did Officer Hahn do during this award?
She ran into a burning building and saved a baby. Impressive, right?
Was Officer Hahn ever nervous about the people she arrested?
Of course, she got threats all the time.
Do you know Officer LaFont?
Yes, I do. She works on my shift.
Why do you think she has negative things to say about Officer Hahn?
She was jealous and believed Officer Hahn should not have received the award.
And why was that?
She believed that she deserved the award.
Is there any other reason LaFont would speak poorly of Officer Hahn?
Officer Hahn was a very proactive and productive officer. She made many arrests. Officer LaFont was lazy. She thought Hahn made her look bad.
Thank you, nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. In a previous testimony, Officer Lourdes LaFont had stated that you were absent a lot. If she took over your shift and you were gone for so many times, how do you really know Officer Hahn?
Because I was not absent a lot, Officer LaFont lied.
She was under oath.
Well, that doesn't mean she's telling the truth.
You're under oath as well, right?
Yeah?
How do we know you're telling the truth? If she can lie so easily under oath, how can we believe you?
That's my word.
It was her word. Thank you. Nothing further.
Defense, do you wish to redirect? Witness may step down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Defense calls Jeffrey Moore to stand. Please state your name for the record.
Jeffrey Moore.
Why are you here today?
I am an expert at police training and the use of force.
What do you do for a living?
I am a police instructor at Zone 5 Academy and I train new officers.
How long have you done that?
27 years.
Please describe the use of force instruction.
Officers are allowed to use force when they're trying to get somebody into custody or defend themselves.
How does an officer know how much use of force is appropriate?
Generally speaking, an officer should use one level above what is being used against him or her.
How many levels of force are there?
There are 5 levels of force.
What is the highest level of force?
Deadly force.
When should an officer use deadly force?
When the officer's life is in danger or there is no other option.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 9 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we're looking at?
This is a police shooting target.
Where are officers taught to shoot?
They are taught to shoot 2 times center mass.
Why center mass?
Because when an officer needs to stop the threat, it's the largest part of the body and they cannot afford to miss.
Do officers shoot to kill?
No, they do not. They shoot to stop the threat.
Did you train Officer Hahn in this area?
Yes, I did.
In your opinion, was it appropriate that Officer Hahn use deadly force in this current situation?
Absolutely. She was confronted by a much larger individual who she thought was in her apartment, and she gave commands that he would not obey.
Do you instruct in the other areas in the academy?
Yes, I instruct on post-traumatic stress and how officers need to be aware on and off duty.
Please explain.
Officers see many terrible and tragic things, and they need to be aware how the stress can affect them.
Go on.
Officers arrest many violent individuals who would seek revenge upon the officer.
Is this relevant to the case?
Yes, it is. Officer Hahn was an aggressive worker on a task force, and she arrested many violent individuals.
Are you aware of any specific threats made towards her?
Yes, I am. She had many reasons to be fearful on and off duty.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Moore, you said that officers can't really afford to miss, right?
Yep.
But she did miss.
No, she didn't.
Well, In the exhibit you saw, she did. Can you explain why that would be if she can't afford to? Thank you, nothing further.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. We showed you the evidence, and both bullets hit him. We have evidence in further testimonies, but didn't you say the reason why they shoot center mass is to stop the threat and make sure they do not proceed going towards them?
Yes.
Is that what Officer Hahn did?
Yes, she did.
For her own safety and the safety of others?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution? Do you have anything further?
In your description of use of force, you said you're supposed to use one level above, correct?
Yes.
So a man standing still in his apartment, all the way in the back, shooting and killing him is one level above?
Well, he was advancing on her, so she had no other option.
Well, the angle introductory of Mr. McCaffrey's study actually shows that he was standing still, which we had said prior.
Well, we have evidence that Dr. McCaffrey was not a very trustworthy expert.
So it's just hearsay. Just one word against another?
No. I was not there to see Officer Hahn fire the weapon, so therefore I cannot say that Officer Hahn was in the wrong.
So you weren't there, so you can't prove what happened?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Defense, do you have anything further for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Defense calls Sam Knight to the stand.
Raise your hand.
Please state your name for the record.
Sam.
Why are you here today?
I am a felon.
How old are you, Mr. Knight?
34 years.
Can you tell us about your educational background?
Yes, I never made it to college. I dropped out in 9th grade.
How do you know Officer Hahn?
She arrested me on some drug charges.
And how did this make you feel?
I hated her for it. I went to prison. And while I was away with prison, my job moved on and I couldn't make any money.
Did you ever threaten revenge on Officer Hahn?
Absolutely.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 10 into the record.
So noted.
Can you tell me what I'm looking at, Mr. Knight?
Yes, this is a note I left on Officer Hahn's car.
Can you please read the note for us, Mr. Knight?
Listen, Miss Officer Hahn, you better watch your back, little biatch, because I'm coming for you. I know where you live, baby.
Would you have carried out your threat?
Yes.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 11 into the record.
So noted.
Morning, guys.
Can you tell me what I'm looking at, Mr. Knight?
This is one of my customers.
Did you go to prison for this?
Yes.
Did Officer Hahn know you did this?
Yes, she investigated it.
So would you say Officer Hahn was very aware of your violent nature and what you were capable of?
Absolutely.
So she would have taken your threats very seriously?
Yes.
If she thought there was an intruder in her apartment, is there a good chance she would have thought it was you?
Most definitely.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Why are you you testifying to save her from going to prison?
I'm not saving her at all. I was subpoenaed to be here.
Okay, so what makes you a credible witness?
What makes me a criminal witness? You know, it's a good question. Very good question.
Okay.
I want to make sure she doesn't mess up.
Mess up again?
Yeah, she arrested me. You know how that made me feel? I was angry for her. Doesn't have nothing to do with her. About me. I don't want to save her. I don't want to do anything. She should go to jail.
So she should go to jail? Prison.
When she arrested
Okay,
me.
thank you.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Mr. Sam Knight, you have no reason to lie, correct?
You're right.
You were forced to come here, correct?
I was.
So why come here and just lie, right?
Right.
So you would like to see Officer Hahn in jail, but it's not right, correct?
You're right.
Nothing further.
Defense, do you have anything to cover? The witness may sit down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Defense call Shine Christian to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Please say your name for the record.
Cheyenne Christian.
Why are you here today?
I am a present defendant.
How old are you?
I am 40 years old.
Did you attend school?
Yes, I did.
What school?
The University of Phoenix, Arizona.
What kind of degree do you have?
A master's in business management.
Oh, so what's your current occupation?
I am the manager of a local homeless shelter.
How long have you worked at this shelter?
I have worked there for 17 years.
When and where did you first meet the defendant?
At the shelter 8 years ago, Officer Hahn volunteers her time there.
What does she do at the shelter?
She reads to the kids, runs game night, and talks with residents.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 12 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we're looking at?
This is Officer Hahn giving care and comfort to a homeless person.
Could you ever picture Officer Hahn harming or hurting anyone or anything?
No, I couldn't. She was always kind.
To your knowledge, has she ever been violent without justification?
No, she is not. It is not in her nature.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Christian, how often did Officer Hahn volunteer at this homeless shelter?
A couple times a week.
A couple times a week. Do you work with her when you're volunteering with her homeless?
Sometimes.
So not all the time?
No.
So, to me, that's saying that you don't really know a lot about Officer Hahn, is that correct?
Yes.
Objection leading.
It's cross-exam, so she's able to do that.
Thank you, nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Witness may sit down.
Defense, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Defense calls Morgan Hahn to the stand.
You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Please tell us about your educational background.
I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice at the Northeastern University of Boston, Massachusetts.
What did you do after college?
I went to Zone 5 Regional Law Enforcement Academy.
What was your rank in the class?
I was number 1 in my class.
What is your current occupation?
I've been a Troy police officer for the past 8 years.
How many arrests have you made over these 8 years?
I've made over 2,000 arrests in my career.
Have you ever earned any commendations in your line of duty?
Yes, I was awarded the Silver Star for Bravery Award.
Is it fair to say you're quite experienced with violent and aggressive people?
Yes, that's what I mainly deal with on the job.
Have you ever been threatened by those you've arrested?
Yes, definitely.
How did you react to that?
I was nervous, but continued to do my job at best.
Would you say there's a lot of stress on the job?
Yes, there is.
Do you feel like you always have to be on guard and look over your shoulder?
Yes, I do.
Are there any specific examples when you were fearful outside of work?
Yes, I arrested a fellow individual, Sam Knight.
And
He was very violent and aggressive and told me he knew where I lived and that he would be even with me.
did you believe him?
Yes, I did. I thought he was quite capable of something like this. I caught him following me a couple times.
Walk us through the night of the incident.
I was working a 12-hour shift and I was very exhausted.
What time did you get home?
Around 5 p.m.
Can you describe where you live for us?
I live in a 10-story apartment complex.
Is there parking for residents of this complex?
Yes, there's an attached parking garage.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 13 into the record.
So noted.
Officer Hahn, is this your apartment complex?
Yes, it is.
What floor do you live on?
I live on the 3rd floor.
Does your key in the building work on just any door?
Yes, it does.
So if you tried entering the 4th floor, would your key work?
Yes, it would.
What happened after you parked in the garage?
I walked in the building and began walking towards my apartment.
What happened next?
I noticed my door was slightly open.
What did you think when you saw your apartment door was open?
I thought someone was burglarizing me or ready to attack me.
And how are you feeling at this point?
My training kicked in and I was ready to fight back.
What happened next?
I drew my weapon and opened my door further.
What could you see?
I saw a large figure coming towards me.
So did you say anything?
Yes, I was yelling commands to get on the ground.
Did the individual follow your commands?
No, he did not.
What happened next?
He began coming closer to me and where he was almost on me, so I fired my weapon twice.
What happened next?
He went to the ground and my eyes were adjusting and I knew I was not in my apartment.
Where were you?
I was on the 4th floor, directly above mine.
What did you do next?
I began CPR trying to save his life.
And then what?
I called 911 and waited for the first responders.
So you did call 911?
Yes, I did.
Officer Hahn, how do you feel knowing what you did?
I feel tragic. This was a terrible mistake. I would never hurt an individual.
Do you believe you should go to prison?
I do not believe I should go to prison. I am not a criminal. I did not mean to hurt Mr. Jean. Putting me in prison will not bring Mr. Jean back.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Morgan, how did you not realize it was your own apartment?
I was very tired and I was just trying to get to my apartment.
Do all the apartments have the same exact furniture?
No, they do not. It was very dark. I couldn't see.
How did you see him all the way back there?
All I saw was a large figure.
You said he was coming towards you, right?
Yes.
So if he was coming towards you, he was getting closer so you could see his face, right?
No.
No? How?
All the lights were off in the apartment. I couldn't see a thing.
Even in the hallway?
No.
There was no light coming in the hallway. None whatsoever.
No.
I found it very hard to believe. Thank you. Nothing further.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Morgan Hahn, you seem upset right now.
Yes, I am.
Were you crying by any chance?
Yes, I was.
Do you truly feel bad for what you did?
I really do. I really truly feel bad.
If you could do anything to bring him back, would you do so?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Do you have anything further, Ms. Rubens?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer Hahn, you said you feel bad because you killed him, right?
Yes.
Does feeling bad justify taking his life?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Defense, do you have anything?
No, Your Honor.
Bill has been said then. Defense,
You may call your next witness.
At this point, the defense rests.
Prosecution, you may give your closing argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, Officer Hahn is sitting in this courtroom today because of a careless act of violence that she portrayed. She's not fit to be a police officer, let alone wear a badge of honor. She shot an innocent man who was simply standing in his apartment, his own apartment. She created an inappropriate relationship with the lead director of the academy. Disgusting, inappropriate. Mr. June will never be able to get married or have kids. He'll never be able to hang out with his buddies on Friday nights anymore because Officer Hahn decided to shoot him. An innocent man. So as you can see, Mr. Jean's life was taken by the false interpretation. Thank you.
defense, do you wish to give your closing statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Morgan Hahn is a sweet, caring girl that would do anything in her power to help for the good. For instance, she gave CPR to try to save Mr. Jean. All the evidence from these testimonies show she did everything physically possible to prevent death after the fact. The stress in her life built up not only as a civilian, but on top of that, a police officer. On top of that, a criminal, Sam Knight, has been to her house, to her car, leaving notes, tailing her everywhere she goes. Wouldn't you be scared? Wouldn't you be paranoid everywhere you went to? She did what she had to do in her mind to survive. She screamed commands, he did not listen. He kept on moving forward, and she did what she had to do. We're not here to make you feel bad for her. What she did was not okay, nor was it good. But we want you to put yourself in her shoes and see why she did what she did. Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the case will now transfer to your hands. I'd like to remind you that the burden of proof in this case is on the defense to prove that Morgan Hahn had no choice but to kill the victim out of self-defense. Nobody's disputing the fact that she pulled the trigger. I will ask you now to retire to the delivery room to begin your deliberations. Has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Would the defendant please rise? Mr. Foreman, please read your verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Morgan Hahn, guilty of murder.